Commander Deebo Samuel responded to a report on Tim Kawakami's podcast where he noted that Deebo is 20 pounds overweight. Deebo hopped on Twitter and said, actually 225 is 10 pounds overweight. He said he was excited for a fresh start. We're expecting Deebo to thrive in Washington. The question that we agreed upon in the meeting, which I am not going to say in my regular voice, but since Dusty told me to, does anyone expect Deebo to be an Avenger in Washington?
Well, that's Nick's word. That's what he used to tear down Brock Purdy.
That's right.
He's got a team full of Avengers around. Deebo has been an Avenger one season in his entire career. It's true, right? And that was like 4 years ago, 2021.
Some people were saying
Deebo
that
will
year.
be now. He'll be good. He'll be the second option to Terry McLaurin. You got so much to worry about with McLaurin and even Jaden Daniels with the legs or the arm that I think Deebo will be valuable. I don't think San Francisco is going to miss him that much. I think they'll be fine without him. But I think he'll go there and play well. I don't think he'll be like an Avenger. Like
Brew, you don't worry that he's going to
player.
age like a running back because they use him like a running back?
Well, I mean, he's going to be 30. Is
He's
he 29?
He's going to be 29.
So, no, I think as a second receiver, I think he'll be good. Now, I would have rather have T. Higgins. I know that's not possible with the franchise, but I would have rather have him. Cooper Kupp, I mean, he's injury prone, so that is what it is. I think he'll be fine as their second guy.
Well, what's really good about this is he's going to play hungry, and not the hungry he played in San Francisco. He's going to be chasing some money. And Deebo thinks he did himself some favors by telling everybody that he was 10 pounds overweight, like explaining away last season. But here's the problem. You get paid, and then you're going to be 10 pounds overweight.
Well, he got paid a couple years ago.
Well, and didn't he get some more money last year? Wasn't that part of the issue? He needed, but the whole thing is like, okay, so now when you're a free agent, we're going to pay you again so you can bulk up again. Right. Here's what I'd say for Washington. Last year it was $798 per pound per day that you're overweight. You can weigh in twice a week. I would set his weight, and I'd weigh him in twice a week to make sure that you get the best form of Deebo. And I don't know why they wouldn't have done that in San Francisco. Those fines add up pretty quickly.
Wait, hold on. You got to explain to the audience. The 798 number is in the
in the collective bargaining. I believe it's 798 last year.
Yeah.
So you set a playing weight for a player, and you can weigh the players in. And it's not like it's some ad hoc number. There's a collective way that you come to it with trainers and doctors and nutrition, all those things. And then that's their playing weight. And then when they weigh in, you have team weigh-ins. If you're overweight, you get fined $798 per pound per day. And so
that would have been $8,000 a day if they'd held him to it?
Till the next weigh-in. I mean, there's some players that we've had historically have lost like $250,000 on things like this, especially those linemen where.
How big were these guys?
Well, yeah, some you.
Well, that's not that much. I mean, if you think about it, you could be 5 pounds overweight, but if you're the whole season.
But the goal isn't to be punitive. The goal is to set a weight that you're most effective at, and then have them stay at that. It was disappointing when I saw that he, not admitted that, but almost presented this as like, here's the reason I wasn't any good, guys. Well, I don't think that helps your marketing.
Well, I don't know if he was doing that or if he was like, I wasn't 20. I was 10.
Oh, it was only 10.
I was only 10. Yeah.
Yeah. Listen. Okay. You know, to answer the question directly, expect a big season from Deebo. No. I expect a good season. I expect him to be useful for the Commanders, but a big season, think about how much of a foundational component he was for the 49ers. He was a true foundational Avenger, as Nick and company want to put it. That's not what he's going to be for the Commanders, and that's a good thing. He's not a foundational part of this team. They are not going to rely on Deebo to get wins like the 49ers did. That's not what the Commanders are going to do for Deebo, and they've already proven that they don't need that from Deebo because they won without Deebo. But look what he did when he was this prominent role on this team. And it's a little tough because it's both, obviously he does both rushing and receiving. But he had the 1 year, 2021, 1,400 yards. Let's just go from 2021, onward. 1,400, which was great. Right there. and then in that same year he had 365 rushing. Like there's this idea of him rushing like he's having like 1,000 yards receiving and 1,000 yards rushing, and like look in 2022 onward, 232, 225, 136. I mean that's not earth shattering here. It's just not. Does he get into the end zone? Does he get some of these touchdowns? Absolutely. And can they be impactful? Absolutely. Undeniably. Getting into the end zone for sure. But receiving, obviously inconsistent. And I just don't think that, when we say a big year, you saying 1,400 yards receiving or something, 500 yards rushing. Is he going to have more rushing yards than he's ever had? Like, I don't know about that. So it just, I'm expecting that we're going to see similar. I'm expecting that we would have some sort of balance between what we saw in 2023, 2024, both from a receiving and a rushing. So you could expect around 1,000 yards, both rushing and receiving, maybe slightly under. I mean, again, it depends. And in terms of touchdowns, like, I don't know, maybe flirting with getting 10 total touchdowns or so, maybe less. Like it's hard to really conceive, because Cliff Kingsbury is truly his own offensive coordinating mind, that he's not looking to just take Deebo and say, okay, I'm going to copy and paste. Because Cliff has his own identity, his own ideas. And also now, Deebo is going to be playing with the best quarterback that he's ever had, with Jaden Daniels. So that matters as well. And so Jaden Daniels is such a unique quarterback that it's going to be how is Deebo going to work off of this, and how is Cliff Kingsbury going to connect all of this. So yeah, but I would also see though that considering this team, considering Cliff, considering Jaden, etc., there's not going to be any forcing to Deebo. There was a sense of forcing to Deebo and a heavy reliance on Deebo with the 49ers. And even when Deebo was complaining about not getting touches, what did they do? They forced him the ball. And he literally dropped the ball. There's not going to be any of that in Washington. This is Jaden's and Cliff's team. That's who this is right now in terms of the offense. All right? They're not here to make anyone happy. Right? They don't even have to meet anyone halfway, quite frankly. They just don't. Especially someone like Deebo, who's obviously at the tail end of his career. They just don't. Right? If they were in desperate need of a weapon, and they made some big play for a wide receiver or running back, for that matter, any offensive weapon that's like in the true prime of their career, 25, 26, and they've been balling, sure, you can make that argument. That's not what this situation is, quite frankly. It's just not. If anything, the Washington Commanders are extending a lifeline, an olive branch to Deebo. More than Deebo's like, I'm coming here to save you, to help you. It's like, no, that's not what this is. And yeah, the Commanders can be excited, and I think they'll be able to, again, have some pretty interesting plays and make some moves and, have some awesome games, etc., etc. But do I think he's going to be this foundational point where people are going to be like, oh my God, Deebo's lighting the league on fire? I don't see that happening, quite frankly. I really don't. But again, fortunate for the Commanders, I don't think that's what they're looking for, and I don't think that that's what they need to be great this season. So, asking whether or not he's going to have a big season or not, matters a little bit less from that point. What's going to be interesting is using Deebo rushing, some of his, with his legs, in the red zone, because he's not ripping off these huge runs to get, when he gets 5 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, like, he's not ripping off these big, massive runs here to kind of get into the end zone. A lot of it's going to be within the red zone, And what's interesting is that the Commanders were a top team in red zone offense and red zone, in scoring. So will there be some sort of, I don't want to say reinvention in that regard, but is there a possibility for that to be enhanced? But again, make no mistake about it, look at all the teams that above them: Cincinnati, Tampa Bay, Detroit, Buffalo, Baltimore. All teams that significantly came up short. Especially Detroit, as Washington Commanders fans know. Cincinnati only did them so good; they didn't even make the playoffs. Tampa Bay, no. Buffalo and Baltimore. It was like essentially as soon as they get to the red zone, boom, they score. Couldn't even get to the NFC Championship game, the AFC Championship game. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's not like that's where things are lacking for the Commanders. Where do the Commanders need to improve? Right here. This is their bottom 6 in giving up touchdowns in the red zone. So they're already top team in giving up and in scoring touchdowns in the red zone. They're a bottom team. That matters. That matters. That's why my focus and energy is simply just not on Deebo. He is a shiny object, and I get it, and I'm excited for the Commanders to have him, but it's just not where my mind is right now. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Are you expecting a big season from Deebo? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.